Hi, I'm Elaine Clayton, and this is my intuitive stream drawing meditation for May 31st, 2020. I did this meditation about the George Floyd assassination and the following protests because it's so full of emotion, and we're all really thinking about it and feeling so much. I wanted to do this prayer meditation, and the stream drawing. These are done with eyes closed using non-dominant hands, so I don't know when I'm drawing what the drawing will look like. And then I open my eyes and gaze into the drawing intuitively and then just interpret as I connect with, in meditation, with what the imagery means to me. This, of course, involves a meditation here, involves the theme of what happened to George Floyd and so many others, killed really through a systemic, subtle, and often not so subtle racism that has permeated our society for generations and generations. So I am a white American woman, and so I just need to make the point that I'm interpreting this visual imagery intuitively through being a white woman. And so that doesn't escape me. So I just need to say that it's speaking to me through who I am. Some of it will be universal and a lot of it is personal. It's a multidimensional image, and it's a spiritual meditation, but that's how it's coming through to me also, is just through the filter of who I am. The first thing that really caught my attention was this image, and the way I first saw it was that sensation of a person looking in the mirror. And always when you think of looking in the mirror, you think of Narcissus and, oh, I only see myself. But you also immediately get that sense of, can I look at myself in the mirror? You know, when we want someone to realize what they're doing and what their behavior is, we go, look in the mirror, take a look in the mirror. We have to look at ourselves. This is the time. This whole thing has happened, and it's really forcing us to look at ourselves. And it's an opportunity for us to do it with compassion, because this really also is an image of two people embracing each other. I felt like, and there's even a heart here, so it's like a time to embody love. And how I felt, it spoke to me so strongly of seeing ourselves in the other. And I wrote this here, coming together. A lot of times we like to say we are one, you know, one human family, but we don't live it very well. Sometimes we feel it, but we often don't really live it. This is an opportunity for us to come together with each other, and the other is us, to look at the other and realize you are me, and I'm you. And yet you may have such a totally different human experience. And I need to look at you and realize that you are me, and with as much compassion as I have, be curious about and hear you and find out what has your experience been, and value that, and then respond to it with love. And I think that, for me, that's what's happening, and that's our big chance to make a big change. And this image here, which is connected to this, struck me as, it was kind of like a fairy godmother, and I realized it was really like a sage. I wrote, listen to ones who are the wise sages, you know. They deliver the message of love through experience. They have had untold amounts of grief over time. Grief, pain, grief, disappointment. This all catapults a lot of momentum. This whole situation has a lot of momentum. Change usually doesn't come without tears. This tear is even shooting forward. I feel like we'll probably, to rebirth and have shifts and to really make societal change and change within ourselves as individuals, it will require some tears. And tears can be cleansing, but it's important for us to go through some of that pain. It's hard to look at ourselves, but we have to. And this whole thing, sometimes you hear people want to dismiss everything that's going on because of the looting and the violence that's kind of disruptive. And it is sad to see all that, but yet let's remember, this is born out of violence. This whole thing has happened because there has been violence for a long time. And this image here shows, like a police brutality type of thing. And I'm not disrespecting the police. It's a very tricky thing. It's a very hard job. I mean, there's so many difficult situations, but we know over and over and over and over that there have been so many incidents of just outrageous, racist, and brutal, without reason, really just murders and just disrespectful, unreasonable things, profiling. It's just terrible what's gone on. It needs to change. And this whole thing looked like a horse, like beating a dead horse. It's so weary. All of the violence that has happened and all of the response to it has been like beating a dead horse. Nobody has made a change. It hasn't changed. So when people complain about the destructive looting and violence, I don't advocate for that. I think it's awful. I don't think anyone should be breaking things down. It doesn't help yet. What do we expect? Violence begets violence. So this is part of the picture. It's not as upsetting to see a Louis Vuitton get bashed into, or a Target. I don't like to see anything like that, and it's stupid for people to loot. But yet, remember where it comes from. It's coming out of these terrible violent acts that have gone on, and oppression that has gone on, where a black man feels like he can't even walk down the street. It's just, this is terrorism that has gone on for so many generations, and people are sick of it. It's like I said, it's like beating this dead horse, and politely asking for change hasn't been working. So something has to change. And so this is the past way of dealing with it. We need a new way to go forward. This image became like more like a ram. And for me, a ram symbolizes sacrifice. Sacrifice is supposed to be a meaningful, transformative thing. We all go through sacrifices in life. We all have times when we feel like we had to sacrifice something we wanted because of something else someone else needed. We could ask ourselves as individuals and as a country, what or who do we sacrifice? Do we actually sacrifice people for a structure that we want to hold in place? Have we been doing that? Do we sacrifice each other in some way that is unfair? Do we sacrifice our actual ideals when we think we're upholding them, but we really don't? Do we sacrifice our beliefs and our virtues because we are more materialistic, really, in truth? These are big questions, and sacrifice is a very big part of the theme of this whole situation, I think. There are some ways in which sacrifice doesn't serve anybody. Nobody wants to throw their lives away. I think George Floyd sacrificed his life. He didn't even struggle. And you're supposed to protect your life. You're not supposed to let anyone snuff out your life without a fight. And he didn't even struggle. He had to, because of the way the system is, not struggle to fight for his life. He was a sacrifice. He's a sacrificial lamb in this whole thing. So we have a right to ask if that's fair, and it isn't. That was wrong. That was a wasted sacrifice, unless we change it for the good. This story is being told. This was like a soul scroll, opened up like an Akashic record. And so I wrote truth. Tell the truth. The truth is written spiritually. We think we can hide the truth. Sometimes it is hidden, but actually spiritually it is known. So everything that is said or done is known spiritually. And at some point, truths do come out. And I think that's what's happening now. Things are being caught on camera, and some things are being known now. And moving forward, though, we can tell a new story. We can tell a better truth. It's in our hands to create a new story. And we can tell the truth of the past, and deal with it. It's causing a lot of strife and pain and tears, but it's time for us to create a new story. And my prayer and hope is that we do it with love, and it is in our hands to do that. We can look at the other as ourself, treat our neighbor as ourself. And this is Elaine Clayton, Intuitive Stream Drawing, ElaineClayton.com.